a huge amount of time. And not only that, it also time as well as cost, leading to patients suffering from treatment delays and also side effects of empirical therapy. So CBNAT does give information about rifampicin only. However, it is not comprehensive enough. When you go for first line LPA, second line LPA, then culture. Yes, culture is comprehensive, but again, it is heavily time consuming, requiring almost 42 days. And if you have to combine DST with it, it's almost 65 days after. So worldwide, we are finding whole genome sequencing is proving to be the go-to test for tuberculosis, and that has the potential, to get patients on the right treatment path early. So Focus TB, which is a leading state-of-the-art tuberculosis reference laboratory powered by Thyrocare, in partnership with Haystack Analytics, we have just launched the first TGS. We are calling this TGS for tuberculosis genome sequencing for a complete profiling of tuberculosis, and at a very comprehensive, completely disruptive pricing of 6,000 rupees for common man. And we believe this could be a game changer in handling India's huge TB burden. Myself, Dr. Caesar Sengupta, I'm the Vice President Operations at Thyrocare Technologies. I will be the moderator for this session today. And let me welcome my colleagues and the speakers for the session. I have my colleague here today with me, Dr. Chaitali Nikam, who heads the infectious disease lab at Thyrocare. She's a member of Constitution of National Technical Working Group on Private Provider Engagement under NACP. She's also a member of National Technical Working Group on collaboration between NTP and corporate hospitals and laboratories. She has, till date, she has almost 38 publications in all peer-reviewed journals. Welcome, Dr. Chaitali. The second speaker for the day would be Dr. Anirvan Chatterjee, who's the CEO of, founder and CEO at Haystack Analytics. Haystack is our partner in this very ambitious project of tuberculosis whole genome sequencing. It's a leading startup in the field of genomic analytics, incubated at SINE IIT Bombay. He is a postdoc from University of Oxford, UK, and postdoc at Technical University of Denmark. Welcome, Dr. Anirvan. Just a couple of ground rules before we just start the session. We would request, of course, we would like to keep the session interactive, but it would be preferred if you could park your questions in the chat box or in the Q&A section. And we would like to take the questions at the end of the session. However, if you wish to speak, you can always raise your hand and you can then unmute, and we will allow you to speak, and then we can interact. And this session is being recorded. Thank you so much. I would now hand over to my colleague, Dr. Chaitali. Over to you, please.
Thank you, Dr. Caesar, for a warm welcome and introduction. So, as introduced, I'm Dr. Chaitali Nikam, handling infectious diseases portfolio at Thyrocare. So, at the end of this session, just sharing my screen. So at the end of this session, we are managed to summarize the impact of detection, turnaround time, and affordability of TB whole genome sequencing. So as we know, as part of a TB diagnostic, why it is so important to know about the TB treatment, because there are few standard treatment or regimens which are there in NTP program, which is really efficient for drug susceptible TB, but it is having lower efficiency in the patient with drug resistant strains. So basically there is a component, or there is a effective drug, there is a combination of drugs which can be utilized at particular time for particular duration, and the information which has to be given from the diagnosis is really important for the TB treatment. And the MDR burden, the global burden, India carries around 26%, and that treatment success rate and patient survival may be associated with the use of selected drugs. So that's the reason it's really important to know the standardized regimen and what are the drugs which are effective for the TB treatment. So there are several ways of detecting TB diagnosis, and this is already incorporated algorithm in NTP guidelines. So if you can say these guidelines is a combination of genotypic as well as phenotypic methods. And I'll just describe in short what this method means, and at the end of each method, what kind of and what drug resistant for particular antibiotic you will get in how much turnaround time. So if you can see when patient is get notified or uh, comes to the tuberculosis unit or any UHP center. So basically it has been first reported for the CBNAT testing. That's a gene expert testing. Most of the people, clinicians knows about this CBNAT test. So if in that CBNAT test, which generally called it as a gene expert test, it gives you the information about rifampicin resistance and TB detection. So if rifampicin resistance is not detected, then that patient goes for a first line LPA just to check for the monoresistant of INHA. So if monoresistant is not detected, then it is going for the susceptible treatment. But if RIF resistant is detected, then we have to simultaneously or reflect test should be gone for first line LPA, second line LPA, and any drug which is resistant in second line LPA, then that sample or the patient have to wait for a culture to grow, which is having turnaround time of 3 to 6 weeks. And once if only culture grows, then and then only it goes for the particular antibiotic which has been mentioned over here. So when if you can see it clearly, the dollar sign indicates the presence of MTB bacilli in the smear. That means this genotypic test only possible if that patient is having a sputum sample which is smear status positive. Also, there are few antibiotic, for example, clofazimide, bledapline, delaminide, linezolid, that is a newly introduced drugs, where the drug susceptibility testing is not available in all culture DST labs. So there are few IRLs or NRLs, that is a national reference laboratories or intermediate reference laboratories, where this DST or the susceptibility testing by phenotypic method can happen. So it is not accessible to all the patients whenever required in the interior regions of the country. So basically these are the, in short, the algorithm which indicates once the patient comes into the NTP domain, which kind of a test happens at which interval. So in short, I'm just giving you a brief explanation about each test. So if you can see, that is the first test, that is the MTB expert, that it gives you the detection of TB as well as rifampicin resistant. Expert MTB XTR, it is in pipeline, which is supposed to come in the end of this year. TrueNAT, some people from mostly from the south region may be using it because there are CBNAT site has been now replaced by TrueNAT site. Line probe assays give you information based on the reverse blot hybridization technique, and these results has to be read very carefully for the development of a bands for wild type and mutant. So it requires really trained technician to perform the assay. Also, liquid culture, that is a phenotypic culture, or whether it's a solid culture, it requires longer turnaround time, that is a 3 to 6 weeks, depending on the smear status of the sample, and also requires the trained technician in both the methodologies. So if you see this carefully, so what does our algorithm indicates, and if you have to go for all these tests so patient is presenting in the laboratory or to the doctor, it takes 1 day to go for the CBNAT test. If here patient is going into the public sector, then definitely this CBNAT test may take 2 to 3 days to give the report because of the number of a sample present at the site of the government hospitals. Line probe assays generally takes 3 to 4 days. So this is the reflect test. So if first line, which is involving rifampicin and isoniazid, so if we have detect isoniazid resistant on the strip, then second reflect test, that is a second line LPA, we have to follow, that takes another 3 to 4 days. So here comes the waiting day of 6 days all over to get the result of second line LPA. If any antibiotic on second line strip, that is a fluoroquinolones and aminoglycosides. So any of the group of antibiotics show resistant or inferred reason in this region, then it goes to the culture DST. Culture takes 3 to 6 weeks to grow, and again DST, that is drug susceptibility test, takes another 15 days to give the results. So if you put all together, the mean duration of treatment initiation in TB care takes an average of 65 days for a new and retreatment cases to start the regimen. So you can imagine when patient comes here to the center to start the treatment, and if he is Mears status negative and the thing is works for him, then it takes 65 days of a lead time to start the treatment. So shortening this time to diagnose can help and put up the patient on the right treatment path early is need of an hour to reduce the global burden of drug-resistant TB. So there are few phenotypic tests, as I've discussed earlier, which says about the DST on crude extract. As right now, this is a gold standard. That is, no phenotypic DST is a gold standard till date because it happens on a viable culture. But there is some error rate. So if you can see, this is a red color showing phenotypic DST. Green color is showing DST on a crude extract using molecular tools, whereas blue is showing DST on culture using molecular tools. So basically this slide is representing the error rates of tuberculosis DST by phenotypic method and the molecular method grouped by individual drugs. So what does it suggest is, if you can see the error rate is mentioned on x-axis in the percent along with the individualized drugs on y-axis, is indicates that the error rate varied substantially between different drugs, whereas PZA was found to be highly error prone, followed by amikacin, capreomycin, and ethambutol and kanamycin, whereas the proportion of incorrect result for another second line drugs was lower and similar to that of rifampicin and isoniazid, which are here. So it shows that there is an improvement in all these aspects. Though globally, phenotypic DST is still considered as a gold standard, this error rate for each individualized shows there is a lots of scope of improvement by genotypic method. And still, these are the genotypics method which have been used, again shows some of the error rates in each of the phenotypic method. So there is a need of an hour to give some substantial solution for this in the form of whole genome sequencing, which said to be gold standard in genotypic method. So there are few technical challenges in traditional DST, though it's very difficult to scale up in the settings, and also the standardization of procedure is still difficult to set up the correct performance of DST, and which requires the understanding of origin of resistant and interpretative criteria, doses and stability of the incorporated compounds, antimicrobial activity of the incorporated drug, and interpretation of result and data reporting. Also, it requires technicians who are really trained. Also, it requires the biosafety cabinet class 2A plus biosafety settings, and the usage or the accessibility of that laboratory to the technician. So these are few technical challenges in traditional DST. So keeping this in mind, we at Thyrocare launched TB whole genome sequencing, that is TGS, with the haystack analysis. So Thyrocare is founded 25 years back with the focus of quality, speed, affordability, and we have launched it with the same goal and started with the focus TB, the division of infectious diseases, which is focused on TB diagnostics. With Haystack analysis, we have launched TGS 2 months back. As there is a need, and it has been already incorporated in the guidelines, that the uptake of NGS for drug-resistant tuberculosis have been hindered by concern regarding cost. So we have kept it as low as possible as compared to other tests. So it gives us antibiogram of 18 antibiotics in turnaround time of 12 days. So if you can compare about CBNAT, that is the GeneXpert, it gives you the antibiogram of only one drug and turnaround time is of 24 hours. Whereas line-probe assays, which is a targeted mutation for first and second line group of antibiotic, whereas the turnaround time is of 4 to 5 days. And culture DST gives us the antibiogram of 12 to 14 antibiotics. Cost is range from 12 to 15,000, and it's the turnaround time is 3 to 6 weeks. So again, if you have seen the error rate for antibiogram by culture DST, which is supposed to be gold standard, is high for few of the antibiotics as shown in earlier slide. Whereas TGS covers all antibiotics which are currently in the market and which has been already incorporated in the algorithm, inclusive of delaminide, bedaquiline, and pretionomide. And whereas turnaround time for this test is 12 days, we are still trying to reduce it from our end. Besides this, is give other information which inclusive of a strain identification, mixed infection, and presence of NTM and Mycobacterium other than tuberculosis. So TB whole genome sequencing rapidly shows the exactly affecting MTB, including its complete drug resistant profile, and thus allows clinician to identify the best treatment regimen to combat the disease. So this is the need of our, as I have shown in my first slide. There are the group of antibiotic, there is a group of some newly introduced antibiotic, and the duration of the treatment which matters, and this test exactly gives you the information about the drug to be used in the beginning and as short as turnaround time in just 12 days as compared to mean turnaround time of the patient who goes on a regimen of 62 days. The implementation of TGS will definitely benefit the NTP, providing data for surveillance of a resistant to different anti-TB drug and important information for hard burden countries to set TB control strategies and priorities. So as it has been shown earlier, that if we put this test as an on first day we are getting the result for CBNAT, and if we are putting in the whole genome sequencing depending on the rifampicin resistant at this point, we'll get the comprehensive diagnostic or the resistant pattern of that particular organism on the 14th day. If we put the TGS after line probe assay, then we are delaying it by 18 days. And if we are putting it exactly after first CBNAT site, and after we are receiving the report as a CBNAT, we can complete this test in 12 days. So this WGS based approach can help and guide individualized treatment as well as inform public health measures. Such approaches have been already successfully implemented for clinical diagnosis in general patient across several countries. This means if contact tracing should be, because public health measure includes the contact tracing. So if at any location, if this kind of strategies have been involved where it gives the information about the transmission, it's really helpful to get the whole genome sequencing of that particular person. If you know about the report format of a CBNAT or GeneXpert, it is really easy to understand for the clinician as well as to the patient, and which hinders the understanding of a genomic report in the community or for the clinicians sometimes. Based on the same line, we have developed this report format, which is a paradigm shift in genomic reporting, where red color antibiotic indicates that mutation conferring drug resistance detected. So this red color antibiotic should not be used for the patient, whereas a green color antibiotic which detects mutation conferring drug resistance not detected. So this green color antibiotic can be used for the patient. This is our first page of a report, which is really easy to understand, whereas 18 antibiotics has been laid side by side along with the presence of drug-resistant mutation, whether detected or not detected. Based on this, you can determine the TB regimen and can start with the treatment. Beside this, there is, as told in my previous slide, that other pathogenic species, if it is a mixed infection or not, other pathogen is there or not, based on the NTM MOTT has been already given on the report format. Also, recommendation of tuberculosis antibiotic profiling, saying it's a MDR or XDR or pre-XDR, that information is also provided on the report format. For good result of TGH, it's very crucial to provide this good quality sample. So sample collection is really play a crucial role in TB diagnostics because of uneven distribution of the organism. So there are two types of samples which generally collects in the government or public setting, which includes the first early morning sample, whereas another sample is spot sample. So early morning sample is preferable and it should be collected in the leak-proof lid, leak-proof container, broad container. So you can guide the patient to collect the early morning sample in leak-proof container. He needs to hold the container in his hand, and before brushing, he needs to spit into the container. Once this sample is ready, he needs to tight the lid very tight. Therefore, we can reduce the chances of leakage of the sample. Sample should be labeled with patient's name and other information which is required or mandate information, and then it has to be packed in the triple layer packing. If patient or the franchisee is going to send this sample on the same day, it can be preserved at room temperature. If not, this sample should be stored in a refrigerator for next day. Triple layer packing contains one of the Ziploc bag. Inside there should be a thermocol box with the ice packs where it can maintain the temperature in cold chain if required. Then this sample should come to the lab in leak-proof state. So basically, in rejection criteria, it has been indicated sample should not be leaked, because if sample is leaked, we'll unable to get the required amount of DNA and that will hinder the test. So it is very important to collect the, it is very important of collection time of the sample, packing of the sample, and then its logistic condition. So this is all about from my end. For your knowledge, ThyroKare started Focus TB around 4 years back, and we are already ISO enabled CAP and NTP service accredited laboratories. So in a nutshell, I can say that whole genome sequencing can for TB can provide greater resolution than conventional genotypic for investigating recent TB transmission or drug-resistant cases. One-stop source of a curated genotypic and related metadata from MTB strains, and we are transitioning using TGS as the standard method for TB diagnostic. That is the first time in India, and by providing antibiogram of 18 drugs within 12 days and at affordable cost. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Chaitali, for giving a complete overview of our very ambitious project of TGS, tuberculosis whole genome sequencing. I would now request Dr. Anirvan to share some of your insights about whole genome sequencing.
Sure. Just checking, Dr. Caesar, can you see the screen?
Absolutely. Visible.
On the right screen. Okay. Thank you again, ThyroKare team, for this opportunity, and Dr. Chaitali. I think you just make my life very difficult after that kind of a presentation. So what I'll try to do now is share some of my experiences and thoughts around tuberculosis treatment and diagnosis. But before I do that, I think Haystack Analytics as a name next to the ThyroCare is a great opportunity for us. But I guess others require some more understanding of what Haystack Analytics is, given that ThyroCare pretty much the name speaks for itself. Just to give everybody some background on ourselves, we are a company based out of IIT Bombay. And like most of the things in India, we at IIT, when we work on this, we try to bring the best technologies at the most affordable costs to whichever domain that we work in. We have been supported through several initiatives of the government, and that is kind of understandable also, because we're working on tuberculosis and infectious disease, which is a huge problem, and India requires all of its solutions to work together to solve the problem. So we have been supported, and we have been very lucky to be supported by the Department of Science and Technology, by IIT Bombay itself, the Maharashtra State Innovation Society, the Department of Biotechnology, and I guess the most important of all, BIRAC, which supports some of the most interesting startups in this country in the space of biotechnology and medical technology. I, for myself, have spent about 15 years in tuberculosis research, having done my PhD and then postdoc at University of Oxford and some other places, where I have worked very closely with teams which have actually developed some of the technologies that is being made accessible to all of you who are listening in today. And I'll be talking about what we are bringing to the table and why we are so excited about our association with the ThyroCare team. Now, the most interesting part that I want to start up with is some basic understanding about treating tuberculosis. And I'm sure clinicians all over the world, and certainly in India, have had this problem for several years, given that the disease itself is now known to be more than 70,000 years old. But the very difficult part about tuberculosis is it's probably one of the most intense bacterial infections to treat. And it's one of those infections which requires a lot of antibiotics taken by patients. Now, that itself is a huge problem for clinicians and patients. But why is it that we require a multi-drug therapy? And what has that got to do with multi-drug resistance? If you think of it, multi-drug therapy does not probably have a lot to do with multi-drug resistance. But the basis of the therapy itself brings to us some key questions as to why was it put in the first place. Tuberculosis bacteria is one of the slowest growing bacteria known to us. What it means is the bacteria has a tremendous capacity to escape antibiotic, to develop antibiotic resistance. And scientists and doctors realized this very early on. And they brought in the concept where if a patient stops responding to one antibiotic, there is a second antibiotic which kills the bacteria and gives relief to the patient. But if that was not enough, the WHO decided they need to put another antibiotic in there so that just in case the two antibiotics don't work, the third one kills it. And then there is a fourth one and sometimes a fifth one. What this means is, if tuberculosis therapy has to work the way scientists believe it should work, the antibiotics need to all be extremely efficacious in every patient. Otherwise, the patient will not respond the way the patient is expected to. And this becomes the biggest problems of our clinicians. Given that a clinician is always looking forward to remission of disease, to provide relief to the patient, what becomes very difficult in tuberculosis is the patient starts responding to therapy, but then stops responding to therapy. Why is that? It is because if you now start imagining that you have given a patient 4 drugs, of which one is not working, there are only 3 drugs which are now working in the patient, then there is a possibility 2 of those drugs are not working. then there are only 2 drugs working for the patient when the therapy is starting. And that makes life very difficult, because now the opportunity of this 3rd drug to become resistant is very, very high. And that is the problem of multi-drug resistance. In a multi-drug therapy, if all drugs are not firing in, then each of the drugs is less effective. When a clinician is giving 4 antibiotics to a patient, in an ideal scenario, all 4 drugs should work, so that all 4 drugs keep on working in that patient and in the community. When that doesn't happen, you have the first drug resistance, you have the second drug resistance, then you have multi-drug resistance, you have XDR, you have XXDR, and there are patients who are now called to be incurable because of this process of drugs not working. This is a challenge which has been really plaguing this field, and the government of India and several very learned clinicians have been working on it. And this year, the government of India took this tremendous leap into technology space, and this is the first ever disease for which the government of India has put out that whole genome sequencing is the way to go forward. In the guidelines for the programmatic management of drug-resistant tuberculosis by the National TB Elimination Program, the government of India has now said that whole genome sequencing, when available to a patient, must be used. And it is not just the government of India. In the year 2013, I was fortunate to be part of the team at University of Oxford, which developed this entire concept, the science and the technology for bringing whole genome sequencing for the entire National Health Services in UK. Since then, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, USA, Brazil, South Africa, Indonesia, several countries have now started using whole genome sequencing. Closer home in India, some of the best known names in the treatment of tuberculosis, Dr. Zahir Urvaria, Dr. Camilla Rodrigues, they have all tried their hands and they use whole genome sequencing. I have been very fortunate to be some of these authors in some of these publications. All of this evidence led to the 2017 watershed moment for TB elimination in the world, where the WHO put out the guidelines for using of genome sequencing for treating tuberculosis at the best possible way. That is how impactful whole genome sequencing has been in the treatment of tuberculosis all over the world. There's several scientists who have been working on it to provide the efficacy, to provide the knowledge base, to provide all the information required for us to provide whole genome sequencing as the go-to technology for early diagnosis of tuberculosis, for comprehensive diagnosis of tuberculosis, so the clinicians who actually interact with the patient can provide the right drug to the right patient at the right time. On the right, these are some of the studies which I have been again very fortunate to be part of with London School of Health and Tropical Medicine and some very interesting groups all over the world. In fact, we were able to show that we can use whole genome sequencing as a diagnostic method to get comprehensive DST in 1 day. And that is a target which we are following up with ThyroCare, and I'm pretty sure in the next months to come, our turnaround time will be very close to that. We'll be talking about just a few days to provide drug resistance for 18 antibiotics in one test. And that changes the way you treat your patients. You no longer have to ask your patients to take one test and then an antibiotic, another test, and then an antibiotic, and another test, and then an antibiotic. By that time, the patient has lost interest. You have lost the patient to follow up. The patient is not responding, and the family members of the patient have now got drug-resistant tuberculosis. We want to stop all of that with whole genome sequencing. If you look at the regulatory guidelines all over the world, I have shown it to you, the first 2017 guidelines from WHO, 2021 guidelines from the PMDT, National TB Elimination Program of India. And last week, the WHO brought out the newest catalog for using whole genome sequencing. And we're really proud that one of the authors of this catalog is actually a member of the Haystack team. Today, with whole genome sequencing, clinicians have this incredible opportunity to offer the best treatment to patients on day 0. When the patient comes today, the patient and the clinician has the option to get information about every antibiotic, without which any antibiotic should not be prescribed. Because as I said, if there is 2 antibiotics which is not working in a multi-drug therapy, the other 2 antibiotics are also at risk, and the patient is most likely to relapse. When we start looking at this entire thing, we do understand the whole aspect of defaulting. This is what is known all over the world as one of the most significant reasons for development of multi-drug resistance. We know why a patient defaults. The patient thinks that the patient is getting well and then stops taking therapy. The patient thinks that he is not getting well, he or she is not getting well and stops taking therapy. Defaulting is one of the main reasons for tuberculosis drug resistance and the failure of therapy. But then why do we have defaulting? One of the main reasons for defaulting is, again, ineffective therapy. If we give a patient ineffective therapy, the patient is going to stop taking that treatment. The patient is taking 8 antibiotics a day. In some cases, there is a significant amount of toxicity associated with the therapy. And imagine a patient taking all those drugs which are not even effective. And this is not just your problem in India. It is the problem all over the world. All over the world, we now know that the delay that the patient does to reach the health system because of the lack of trust in the health system, because of stigma, it is the reason for delay in diagnosis. The inaccurate diagnosis on day 1 is another reason for diagnostic delays. The treatment that is arrived to by empirical therapy is another delay. And all of that leads to inaccurate therapy. And all of that leads all over the world, 75% of MDR, excuse me, remaining untreated. And this is a huge problem. This is not only a huge problem for the patient that you are treating, it is a huge problem for the family of the patient, it is a huge problem for the community, and it is a huge problem for the nation, because it not only spreads drug-resistant TB, it amplifies drug resistance, and we are losing one drug at a time in our fight against tuberculosis. With ThyroCare, we wanted to stop this entire thing. We wanted to provide a solution which makes genome sequencing not only accessible in UK, not only accessible in Spain or USA, but also accessible for the slums in Mumbai, for the rural locations of India, where today ThyroCare can reach practically every pin code in this country. The cost was very important. Today, a gene expert and an LPA cost more than 5,000 rupees and gives information about 4 drugs. We have launched this, ThyroCare has launched this product at an incredible price of 6,000 rupees. The cost of this test in other countries is way higher. We are able to bring this at this cost because of the innovations that Haystack has worked in IIT Bombay with several stakeholders involved in the studies. We have been able to bring this cost because of the incredible scale that ThyroCare brings in, because of the automation that ThyroCare brings in, and because of the continuous efforts of ThyroCare to provide the best solutions at the right cost to everybody. The process has now been integrated in the state-of-the-art lab in ThyroCare. The entire computation that is required is fully automated so that every patient that gets this test will get the same information that is available anywhere else in the world, probably better, because now we have started this test in India. We are going to provide better and better data and better inferencing for every patient, for every clinician. We want every clinician to treat the TB patient with the right drug on day 1. To enable the clinician to focus on the patient, to focus on the therapy, we have created a report which is very easy to use. We have created a report just like any other molecular report. It shows you whether a resistance is present or not. That's exactly how every other molecular test is, and that is exactly how we have made the entire therapy. This is molecular diagnostics at the next level. When you do a real-time PCR, you're looking at 1, 2, 5, maybe 10 targets in the DNA. When you do an LPA, you're looking at 20 targets in the DNA. When we do whole genome sequencing, we look at 4.5 million targets in the DNA for every patient. And because of that, instead of doing 9 tests over several months, you do 1 test and get the result for all antibiotics. That is the beauty of doing genome sequencing. This was the validation, as I said, we did with, actually this was done with the WHO and the Central TB Division, the National Health Mission, in one of the leading laboratories in India at the JJ Hospital under the supervision of Dr. Amita Joshi. Every row here was a patient that Dr. Amita Joshi's lab was trying to diagnose. And they did a superb job in getting that data, except for the fact that even the system today is asking the patient to do 1 test and then another test and then another test and so on and so forth. All the blue cells that you are seeing in this chart, there was no data for those antibiotics. And despite having no data, the patient was being put on therapy. We took those same samples and provided whole genome sequencing. We got the entire data set in 1 test. We not only got that, today the whole world knows that the variants are very, very important. The variants, just like in COVID, the variants of tuberculosis are very important. When a doctor knows that this variant of tuberculosis is highly infectious, is extremely fast, and actually spreads in the family and results in higher mortality, we are able to provide that information also on the test because it is whole genome sequencing. This is the kind of work that we do at our backend in IIT Bombay. We look at all the data that we are getting with all our partners and provide every patient with the most updated data that the patient gets. This is a paradigm shift in the way infectious diseases is done all over the world, certainly in India. We not only detect the right mutation, not only we detect the right variation, but we diagnose the right drug which will work for that patient. And because we are doing whole genome sequencing, if there is a new variant, we discover that also. And when it is discovered in one patient, the very next patient gets benefit of that discovery. We don't have to wait for a new kit. We don't have to wait for a new regulation. Whole genome sequencing is future proof. Whole genome sequencing is absolute. Whole genome sequencing is comprehensive. And today, whole genome sequencing is cheaper than a culture test. When we look at all the different technologies available in the world, which the NHS and Spain, as I was saying, these guys are using, the Omega TB technology is the first one, which is whole genome, validated, automated, scalable, and private. None of the data actually leaves the clinician's table. That is why it is so secure, and that is why the government of India and several other partners have decided to work with us. So what can you do as clinicians? How does it change the way you treat your patient? How does it change the way you start imagining having patients not lost to follow-up? We think this test should be done for every TB patient. But then we do understand there are some limitations as far as the affordability still is concerned, and we are working on that. What we can at least do is, if a patient is rifampicin resistant, let us not put that patient on a therapy of other drugs which we have not tested. We are making the same mistake. Earlier, we did not test for rifampicin and gave rifampicin when it was resistant already, and there was new resistance which came in. At least today, if a patient is resistant on rifampicin, please put that patient on whole genome sequencing. If it's a presumptive MDR case, like for example, a retreatment case or a previous history of tuberculosis, that patient must be put on whole genome sequencing. The patient will respond better. The patient will have a lesser toxic therapy, and the patient will forever be grateful for having the right therapy at the earliest possible time and not having to make several rounds to the clinic and the diagnostic center to give several samples. This is how we change healthcare in the world, and we want that all of us work towards that with the same intent. Every retreatment case, every presumptive MDR-TB case, every rifampicin resistant case must be put on whole genome sequencing. And if the clinician is really keen and the patient is really keen, I believe that the test should be taken even for rifampicin sensitive cases, because we all know there are several cases who are sensitive to rifampicin, yet they are resistant to fluoroquinolones, to isoniazid, to aminoglycosides. Today, we have next generation drugs which you can give to the patient, but you cannot give a next generation antibiotic unless you know that there is no other antibiotic that is going to work. When you give a drug like clofazimine or bedaquiline, which has very high toxicity, you must know that this is the last option. And the only way to find that is using whole genome sequencing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anirvan, for that absolutely brilliant insight. Friends, if you have any questions, you can park it in the Q&A section, or you can raise your hand. We can unmute and you can ask your questions. Dr. Uma, any question from your team?
Yeah, no, I think they are clear with what we need to know for today.
Okay. I also understand that probably few of our clinicians and some of our chest physicians have been busy with their clinic work who could not attend this particular session. So as I promised, we will make the recording of this particular session also available for viewing, so that anyone who has not been able to attend the session can probably view it at a later time, at a convenient time. And in case there are any questions that you come up with, or in case you receive any of the questions from your team members, please feel free to pass it on to me. I will get them addressed either by Dr. Chaitali or by Dr. Anirvan. Right. If there is no other question, then thank you very much. We will then end the session.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Cecil.
Thank you.